So this will be a video about installing this oil separator. So what this is used for is that the floor drain inside the garage here, if I do any servicing and stuff like that and I drop oil in that drain, this is gonna catch that. Dirty water going inside this, clean water coming out. So the stuff included in an installation like this is alarm, we've got sensors, we're gonna install a lid, tank, and just the pipe going from the surface, and the filter. But we can go into detail more about all this stuff later on when installing and how it actually works and the pricing of installing something like this. But I gotta start digging up the sewer pipe. The reason for two pipes coming out here is that one is gonna go for a toilet to the septic tank and the other one is for the drainage, floor drainage here. We just gonna figure out which pipe is which. I'm kind of hoping this is the correct pipe for the drainage. So it was opposite of what I was hoping for. So this one is going for the floor drain. So yeah, but it's not really that big of a problem. I'm just gonna get this pipe under that pipe, or maybe above that pipe. We'll see. I gotta measure how deep I need to install that thing. The reason for wanting the septic system on this side is that, so the sewage line is gonna go that way. The reason for that is that it's gonna be a big infiltration bed with gravel and stuff like that for it. So I got room and correct level for that down there. But that is next year's problem. Now we're just gonna install this. So we're gonna measure how deep down this is coming. So to the bottom there, yeah, so 1 meter and 20 centimeters. So we're gonna measure with this from that And that pipe is coming up. It's gonna get pushed down to around here. 1 meter. 1 meter more. So 2.5 meters is this going down from the total finish height of that thing here. So let's do that. I just gonna mark with the laser the finished height there. So I'm gonna use the laser to set the finish level. Let's turn that on. So that laser is gonna adjust itself so it's in plane, in a straight line. Yeah, so now we're just gonna figure out where the ground is gonna, where the finished ground is coming. I think I'm gonna fill with gravel when everything is done back here to around here. I don't really have to go much higher just to cover this insulation here, but it's going down kind of steep, so that's a good line. So we're gonna set that to 0 here with this thing. This is just a receiver that, well, shows where the laser line is. Around it's not really that. Okay, so that's the 0 point here. Okay, so this is a straight line now with that mark on the wall. So 1.3 meters under this, the pipe is gonna come, and 2.5 meters, the bottom of that is gonna be. That much more. So I'm kind of in the same level as the lake now, I think. You can really see how soft it started to be here. So this material was really hard until I got to the gray, more clay stuff here. So this is more bouncy. But I think I'm at the correct level right now. A little bit lower. So I gotta put on some fabric here. Just a little gravel. Smooth that out, and we're gonna put that tank in. Might not wait too long, so it starts filling water here. Maybe we find ourselves a cold spring here. It would be kind of cool. up there. But yeah, I'm gonna leave this to fill a little bit to get some more stability here when starting to backfill around that. I'm out of water. I need to go and fill my tank. So I got an external tank in there in the garage. I haven't really dug the well yet, so this will do for now. It's... yeah, you're not moving this now. So I'm just gonna fill a little more of this base gravel here. Yeah, maybe 1-2 more buckets of this kind of gravel. And I'm gonna compact it, and we're gonna put a more draining material from this up to the pipe here, so there's no standing water in this in case of freezing. So this material here I'm using is just 0 to 4 millimeter. I mean, this is still kind of draining, but it's not meant for that. This thing can hold water. Alright, so I'm on my way to go and get myself a load of gravel. We're gonna fill that hole there with some infiltration gravel that doesn't hold water. So might as well go and get some good stuff. Okay, boogie down. Okay, we're gonna see material. We're gonna put 8 to 60 millimeter. I guess that's good material. Let's go with that. gonna go. There's moose hunting. He's gonna go sitting in his tower. So I gotta fill this before this edge collapse. Then we're gonna do the same on the other side. So I'm on my way to the gravel pit. I'm gonna take another load. I might as well. I still got some material left there, but I'm gonna need it later on, so I have all the material needed. Alright, look it down. So I gotta take a little bigger material here. Let's go with this 16 to 32 millimeter. Okay, the reason for using rocks like this that doesn't contain any zero material is that it's a capillary barrier. It doesn't suck water, or if water gets onto this, it's just gonna sink straight through, compared to this clay I got here. So this material, if this stands on wet ground, it's gonna get wet. This thing holds water. This doesn't hold water. That's the reason for putting this material here. Since this ground it's really wet. So, like in the winter time, that thing is gonna freeze. The ice is gonna travel in that and expand. Leaving that material around this when it freezes is that it can just push this up. It's like rocks in the ground that suddenly come up. Usually the thing is that water gets below it, it freezes, and it gets pushed up a bit. And that thing is going on for years and years, and suddenly a rock is just came up from the ground there. So the bigger material I took now, I gotta use when going further here. So when building my stone casket down there, I gotta go kind of deep here. So all the water that gets collected around here, so this fabric here, it's not waterproof. That thing is letting water through. So since this is gonna be really wet, it's gonna push the water over here. And that water is just gonna sink down. And the plan is that when digging the trench here, going to the casket, I also gotta fill that with rocks. So the water can keep going from here, making this draining the ground at the same time as it's helping this not freezing and protecting this with good material. So that's the main point with using a lot of gravel here. I gotta measure the height with the laser here, seeing that we are on a good height, so this is not too low now. So it's usable like that. Okay, let's set that to 0 around there. All right, so we got a height difference of 10 centimeters from there to here. And the distance is, let's see, we got 5.8 meters approx there, so that's good. 1.7% from that. Okay, so this is next year's problem for a sewer, so we're just gonna plug that. I don't have the right connection to be able to connect this as it is right now, so I gotta need to go into town buying that. But before doing that, we can start with the top pipe coming here. I think that is maybe this is a good height to keep. So this should go on top there. So these two seals are going there. So this is the only thing that's holding this up. As it is right now, it's just resting on the incoming pipes. Not supposed to be like that. Still going up a little bit. So the only thing it's gonna rest on is this. In the manual, they only mentioned this as a O-ring sealing there. This wasn't even included there. But I think this is gonna come around the pipe like that. It's kind of an edge here, so it's gonna grip. But this thing is just gonna sit by friction. Let's go through how this thing works before we're closing that off with the top there. So let's say I'm servicing a tractor in the garage and I gotta spill a lot of oil and there's a lot of sand and debris falling off on that tractor. So everything is gonna get flushed down in the drain inside the garage. It's gonna come here through the pipe into this tank. And what's gonna happen is that all the sediment, sand and stuff is gonna fall to the bottom and oil is gonna float. So that's how they separate. Heavy particles in the bottom, water in the middle, and oil on top. So this filter here is sitting like that. And the water level is, well, it's gonna be up to this outlet pipe. So when the oil is coming out here, it's gonna get stuck in this. I'm not really sure how this filter works per se, but I guess the oil is just gonna clump together in this filter and start floating up, so it doesn't get through this. And inside there we have this thing. Yeah, so this thing floats in water, but it doesn't float in oil. So what happens if you spill a lot of oil into this tank, more than it can take, is that normally this is gonna float like that. But the more oil that gets collected on the top here, it's gonna make this sink once it doesn't float in oil. So when the oil has reached its level, this is shutting off the outlet. So no water can get out from here. That's kind of a safety feature. So even though you get this filled with too much oil, it's not gonna start leaking out oil in the nature. So yeah, that's why we have the alarm. So there's gonna be 2 alarm probes. One in the bottom for the sediment and one in the top for the oil, I believe it was. So when the oil level reaches too high, before that thing closes off, it's gonna give a warning. And if we ignore the alarm, this thing is gonna close off, and well, the drain inside is gonna flood over since no water can escape here. But yeah, so that's how this thing works. Let's just leave that there and put the filter where it belongs. So yeah, so that thing is gonna start floating now when we fill more water here. So I just saw that there's a connection here also for this cable protection, so we're gonna use that instead of that. Okay, I think I gotta put some soap onto this. That thing is gonna be terrible getting down there. But it's gonna turn like that. That is good information. Oh, that's just want to come off. Oh, it's solid here. That's for sure. So what do we need? These we're gonna need. Let's make that 3. Yes, this was the one I was missing, the 15 degrees. Take a few of those. Let's make it 3. Do we need anything else? What's the difference in this? It's another color. Okay, I think that's good. I better hold on to that. We're just gonna make one more pit stop before going back. Oh yes. Pizza salad to that. this is broken here, so I'm just gonna cut off a piece from that. So I gotta throw some insulation on top of this so it doesn't freeze. But I guess we can test this pipe first, so let's go fill something in the drain in the garage, seeing that it's actually coming water where it's supposed to. this is a sand catching, well, box to catch worst of the sand, so you can empty that without going with a whole separator. Kind of perfect fit with too. So I'm gonna fix this cable pipe there, so I don't forget to do that before filling anything. So you're just gonna lengthen this with the new one. Alright, this is solid. I gotta pull this cable through before filling it. So this is the alarm cable we're gonna pull through. This is the sewer that we plugged. We're gonna install this next year, but this is the cable pipe we're gonna need. can put this as a reminder. So when we reach that, we know that the pipe is under, so it's easy to dig up again. But we're leaving it like this as a reminder. I'm gonna fix this. So this is the infiltration that goes around the garage. Let's just put a little piece there. Okay, so next step here now is I gotta keep on going with the pipe here before filling. So I'm gonna fill to that level around here, put insulation on and keep on putting dirt as I did there. So we're gonna go, I think we're gonna go in this direction. So I'm gonna clean this off and we're gonna see what we can do here. At first I thought I might as well put the garage drain from the roof and the ground in the same stone casket there, but nah, I gotta do that separate. So all this piping coming out here is from the garage, so that this solid pipe is coming from the roof and that is from just going around the garage there. But I mean, there can be kind of high water levels if there's a real rain. So yeah, I gotta make that a separate video later on, finishing that off. But the water level that's gonna come from this, they aren't gonna be high. They're gonna be really small. So the casket needed for that is not big. Right, so the track jumped out. Not only on that side, it also jumped out on this side. So yeah. Well, the back is still in order, but that jumped out. And that jumped out. Yeah, so that's kind of a new thing. I never had both tracks jumped out at the same time. everything is leaning a little bit. You can see here in the ditch, this is where the water is coming in. And if we look through the line here, it's kind of similar all the way. Here's water pushing. There's water pushing there. Okay, so this is pushing in here. I must say it feels really good draining this. So now we're gonna put fabric all the way to here. Put gravel in that. So all the water that gets pushed into that through the fabric is gonna get poured down here and will hopefully disappear somewhere. Gotta double check with the laser here, so where that pipe is coming out, that's the zero here. So you don't really see that with the eye since everything is going down here, but there's a big difference in height there. Might feel a little bit too thick with this material. This material is compactable, so it might sink a little bit, but doesn't really matter. Even though I gotta put the insulation here, that thing can bend quite much before it breaks, so doesn't matter if it sinks a little bit. So it's the next day now. You can see the water starting to fill up there. So I kind of changed my mind on the drainage coming from the roof and around the garage there. I'm gonna combine everything to a single point and just make a big stone casket here for that. So we're gonna combine it with this. So that thing is sealed in the bottom there. And I'm gonna pull in the old separator through that. And the groundwater to that. And then below here, there's an outlet for the water. So we're gonna do that. So I gotta put that here. That is kind of good inspection point also, if you want to see that everything is working as it should. I mean, you can just look down in that and see what's going on. So my fabric got a little short there since I changed my plan, but not really a problem. I can just cut out another piece. So I gotta clean this up so I get that pipe connected there. stick is just in the way, so I'm gonna measure how far it is to the wall. Mark it there instead. So from here, 4 meters out. Remember that. The use of fabric here, that's just so the insulation will stand still. It will act as one, kind of binding that together. Because the finish level now with gravel is not something I'm gonna be able to achieve this season. So this is how I'm gonna leave it over the winter. So this is a D400 manhole cover, meaning that it can take a load of 40 tons. It's not gonna take that load as anything is right now. I mean, just the weight of this onto the pipe and that thing will probably start sinking in. But what we're gonna do is, so I'm gonna install this now. It's just gonna rest on the insulation here. And next year when I'm gonna do the finish ground level here with gravel, I'm gonna cast this. So we're gonna need to pour concrete around this. So when putting load onto that, the ground is gonna take that load. So no load is being put on this pipe, since that is only mounted with friction. I mean, that thing can get pushed down. Before mounting that cover, I'm gonna install the sensors that's going here for the alarm. So yeah, well, let's see what we got here. So this is a high level sensor. If that is clogging and the water levels start rising, meaning that it's filled with oil, this is gonna give a warning before this is completely filled. So this ultrasonic sensor is gonna be placed 30 centimeters above the inlet pipe. And it's not supposed to touch water. So next is a capacitive level sensor. That is gonna sense the oil level in this. So that is gonna get mounted 15 centimeters below the static water level. Yeah, so the water level as it is right now is just so it doesn't pour out. So this is, I won't consider the static water level. So how do we know 15 centimeters below the surface? How long is this? Yeah. So this complete thing is gonna be submerged. That's 15 centimeters. Well, we're just gonna try not to drop things now. That is going there. So the last one is plugged there, since it's not going to be used. You could put another sensor that feels the sediment level there. I thought I had one of those, but apparently not. Doesn't really matter though. So the hole here for the inlet cable is a little bit bigger than all the rest, so that is not sealing properly. But I do have some liquid electrical tape. I never tried this, so let's give it a try. Should work good. So this is supposed to be a flexible, watertight seal. That should be good. I guess we can put some here also. So I'm also gonna make an insulated lid. Might as well. So it's not completely tight, this thing can still breathe. But it will sure insulate. So the cable on the spool, this is everything left, so it's kind of a exact fit here. I was thinking about putting it up there. It's really an exact fit. So if we put that like that, we can steal power from this outlet. I'm just gonna turn off the fuse for that. Yep, that's right. Hole in that. So let's turn on the power. I guess we can choose English here. Year, month, day. In the correct format as it should be. Let's see. Like that. Things you need. So inspection, we're gonna do 6 months. It's gonna remind us we need to do an inspection. We can do a 5-year also. Not every month, that's a little bit too much. All right. Okay, we're gonna do a test, so keep this down in 5 seconds. Let's go lift up one of the probes, seeing if something happens. Okay, so this should give a warning now when I lift this out of the water. Yeah. So the layer sensor I just lifted up, that is giving an alarm now. It's no longer a now it's just an X. Okay, so that is alarming. Okay, let's try the high level. I'm gonna block that. Okay, so everything is working. So I put the layer probe back and now the high level sensor. Put that in water. So this thing is working. Let's put test mode off. So. Got a bit of rain that came down here. You can see it's starting to fill my, not only that hole, but before reaching the lower part of that hole, it's gonna start pouring over there. But yeah, that's the next. So that's gonna be in the next video. We're gonna fix that stone casket, French drain, whatever that is called in English. So that works. So we can get all of this water down that tank. So the water coming now is gonna go through the pipe here. We gotta do a connection point here for all the pipes, and that is gonna go down there. But other than that, I would say this is done for this year, this part. So you can see here, this level here. So this is finished ground level. So that is gonna get filled up. So the mark I did there on the wall is around that height. So I mean, it's gonna go down a little bit. So this is perfect level. So that is gotta get concrete poured around at the same time when I do this filling here. I really don't think this is gonna freeze. There's no chance. Since this area isn't even gonna get plowed, there's gonna be a lot of snow on that also. But yeah, I think we're calling it for this time. Oh yeah, the prices. The prices, I was about to tell that. So the prices for all this is excluding VAT. So this tank, complete with the pipe and that manhole cover, somewhere around 4,500. That pipe was 250. All these sewer pipes that go like that, those are 6 meters each piece, 35. Ooh, and the fabric. So one complete roll of fabric, as I got here, that's 120 meters long and 6 meters wide. One roll of this is around 600 euros for that roll. And that has classification N3. I'm not sure if that is a international thing, classification of that. We got like the classification N1, N2, N3, N4, even N5. It's just the strength of the fabric. The higher the number, the more strength it has. All the gravel used, approx 400 euros. That price is for a self-checkout. That's not gonna be the case if you order gravel, but if you go collect it by your own, around 400. And for the alarm installed here, This thing was 500 euros. I think I included everything here. I don't know how many pipes I used. So, but approx price. How much you will pay for something like this, just material cost. Oh, it's rain again. Yeah. But I mean, you could basically build this yourself. I mean, just buy the plastic and the filter, and with a concrete ring, just cast the bottom in that and build something like that. I mean, if you want to save a few euros, that's kind of possible. I mean, yeah, it is kind of expensive buying something like that. But it's made to last 50 years, it says. So we'll see about that. I got a return in 50 years. We're gonna see if it still holds up. Yeah. Let's pour some water in the drain here to see that it's coming out there.